here we are pulling out, green light, and let me just say, if I... What's going on, guys? Thanks for checking out the video today. I'm going to be doing something a little special for you guys. It's going to be a complete walk around of the car. And it's going to be a review video. I just got back from import face-off yesterday, so the car is really clean, so I can kind of go around it and show you everything and it doesn't look like complete crap. I'm going to go over everything that's done to the car, kind of give you an idea. I usually put a mod list, and it's always all my videos, my mod list will be in the description. I'm just going to walk around the car, start listing off everything that's done to it, and then I'm going to do a driving review. So I haven't had the car quite a year yet, but I've had it long enough that I can, and I had another car, you know, same car, just a 15 with pretty much the same mods as far as engine work goes. So I kind of know, you know, what's going on with it, and I can kind of give you a good idea of what it's like to daily drive one. So without going into this any further, I'm going to do the walk around and then I'll do the driving review. Exterior mods, I'm going to start, we have our custom painted headlights with our diode dynamic C lights and some eBay LEDs for the low and high beam, TI fog light bezel or delete bezel, whatever you want to call it, but it does have the air hole there, and it actually routes that up into the engine bay for cooling, so that's nice. Perrin front plate on there, red pinstripe. I made this emblem with a Cricut, you know, vinyl cutting machine, and we have just a simple red pinstripe that I put on. Behind there we have hella horns. I have 2 red hella horns with a Perrin bracket, and then 4 hiding behind the bumper that you can't see, with a total of 6 horns, because why not? Over here we have our S209 flare kit from OLM, and it didn't come in the magnetite gray, so this is actually painted by me. Then we have our factory NK wheels. That is not an Enki center cap. I actually made that myself on the vinyl cutter as well. Our factory Brembo calipers that come on the 2020 Performance. Also running some ISC 25mm spacers to fill out these flares better. 20% window tint all around. Factory vortex generator from Subaru. A lot of people ask me about my taillights. These are custom painted taillights. You can find how-to videos on my channel. I have 3 of them. But these are just factory taillights that have been painted. The diode dynamics tailless turn module, so the actual C light will light up as a turn signal instead of the turn signal inside of here on this side. And then both of these function as reverse lights. Our S207 vents in the back, which are painted by me again as well. And then I actually have these cut out. So a lot of people said that these weren't functional, but I do have it cut out there in the back. So it doesn't do much, but it reduces drag very slightly. Then here you can actually see my tire through the vent. This vent is completely functional now. From the factory, it does nothing. I have it cut out in the middle, so it pulls heat down from the fender. I have Perrin vents in there. You'll see them in a second. And with the extra airflow coming through, it also reduces drag and will actually help kind of pull some heat out. Back here we have a red pinstripe again, nothing fancy, just a little AutoZone pinstripe. We have a eBay third brake light, stock exhaust, and then the duckbill spoiler is molded onto the car by me and painted by me, but it is a this was the JDM Tanzo Carbon V4 or something like that, but you can also get it as the OLM High Point, or you can find it on eBay. But you can see I left a little bit of carbon exposed there. The rear emblem was also wrapped, but I took it off the other day because I messed it up. That, my friends, is the outside of the car. For the interior, we have our factory Recaro seats. I just include those in there because a lot of people ask if I swapped with an STI. These are factory on 2020. I have the OLM shifter console. This is the JDM shifter console that's supposed to be used for the CVT transmission, but I made it work with my manual. And then I have there the OLM S-Line carbon trim. I'm not sure what shift knob that is. I got it for free when I bought some muffler deletes a while ago that are currently not on the car. Then I also have the OLM S-Line carbon here as well on both sides to replace the fake carbon. Also, can't forget the dialed mounts, vent mount there for the access port. Also did forget to mention that the car is lowered on H&R 2-inch lowering springs. As far as engine dress up goes, not talking performance, you can see we have our Perrin radiator shroud, Perrin pulley cover, the Perrin vents, which are actually slightly functional now because they allow the air to pass through and go down the fender to the cutout, and the IBR vacuum pump cover. Wise, obviously in the car we have the Cobb Accesport, but over here we have the Mishimoto cold air intake. In the back of the car you'll find a Deatschworks 300C fuel pump. Over here we will have our Cobb Flex fuel kit, which is hiding behind the battery. We have Perrin TGV Deletes, PRL EGR Deletes. EPA has entered the chat. And have the Boomba bypass valve, 1320 performance Catted Downpipe. Over here I have the Radium dual baffled catch cans, and the car is tuned by and obviously the Grimmspeed top mount intercooler, but the car is tuned by Ron over at Phatbotti Tuning. And so there you can see the downpipe. You can't really see anything else. Oh, and the Grimmspeed electronic boost control solenoid as well. So a lot of people say that there's nothing done to my car, it looks stock. It really isn't completely stock. It just doesn't look that crazy. Just because everything in my engine bay is black and not red or acid green or whatever, and because I don't have crazy wheels and air ride suspension, everyone just assumes my car is stock. It's not stock. Okay, so before everyone asks me the next big question, how much power does it make? 372 wheel horsepower is what it's making. The torque is slightly less, like in the 360 range. The car is responsive, it's fun, it's quick. I'm not worried about it blowing up. I also have a Send It map, which will take that 372 horsepower to about 403, but I don't run that one. The map I'm on right now is just I'm actually on the Crackle map right now because I put it on for the car show just to be a douche. I said I was going to drive this car as if it was the first time I ever drove it and it was someone else's car. So that's what I'm going to do now. Push the clutch in, put it in first, let's go. Initial thoughts, it's on the stock clutch. It feels great. It feels stock. It sounds stock. There is no catback, there's no mid-pipe, there's nothing. It's the factory exhaust besides the 1320 Catted Downpipe. So it's relatively quiet. The intake noise and the Boomba bypass valve sound great though. I love the flutter. Brakes are super responsive. I was kind of late braking there because I forgot there was a stop sign there. Letting the car warm up. The clutch is so effortless. The clutch really feels good. I can smell the ethanol. The car is on E6. It's 66.1% ethanol running through the fuel lines right this second. The seats are fairly comfortable. The ride quality for being Lowering Springs, the H&R Springs, it rides really nice. It does pull to the right a little bit, and I'll tell you why. A week after I bought the car, I smacked a really bad pothole on this side, on my passenger side, and it bent my wheel just ever so slightly. It bent my factory wheel, and when it bent my wheel, it also, I think, jacked the alignment up. So ever since then, the car has slightly pulled to the right, and the steering wheel, you'll feel a vibration around like 60, 65, and then it goes away. It doesn't vibrate before, and it doesn't vibrate after. The steering response is really nice. For being pretty much a stock car, besides springs and spacers, I mean, it corners really nice. The window vents weren't in the back right now, making all kinds of noise, and I had the windows up. It feels like a completely stock car right now. The ride quality feels pretty much stock. It's so quiet when you're cruising, you can't even tell the car's modified. If you're just cruising along, if I took that Accesport off the dial or off the dash and put it in the glove box and I was just cruising around, you would never even know this car was modified until I start giving it a little bit more gas. So that's kind of cool. So just looking at the Accesport now, it's 64 degrees outside, and the intake manifold temp, which is the temperature after the intercooler, we're at 70 degrees. So if I actually speed up and give it some more throttle, we're at 64. which is insane. That Grimmspeed top mount intercooler does so much, it puts in so much work, it really does. Getting completely ambient temperatures. I actually I went under the ambient temperature. It's 64 degrees outside, and my maximum or my minimum intake temperature at the manifold is 61 degrees. That's awesome. That's unbelievable. I've loved that intercooler since I got it, but hold on, hang on, hold that thought. Oh my God, that was a fun turn. That was a really fun turn. I had to do it. Wow, this thing handles great. It really does, and it's crazy. The instant torque, you can just whip around a corner. You can slow down, hit the apex of the turn, and then just romp on it. This is a dangerous corner. People come flying down, so I'm gonna rip on it. That's insane. This car is so good for its acceleration. I've driven cars that are much faster than this, and they don't pick up as quick. It's crazy. In the long run, they would probably pull away from this thing, but in town or on back roads, this thing is just like a must-have beast. It really is. For its usable power, the power is right there when you need it, and then it's not there when you don't want it. So it's perfect. It's not undrivable by any means. Like I said, it feels like a stock car when you're just coasting around. That was a WRX STI wing. Stock turbo is so reliable, and it's so that instant boost. Like, okay, hold on, we're gonna go to 3 grand. I don't want to floor it any lower than 3 grand because that causes issues with these cars. The high load or high boost, high load and low RPM is not a good combination. We are at -10 vacuum right now. I'm gonna floor it and tell you when we hit full boost. That was 17 pounds of boost that quick, and I was actually going slightly uphill. It's awesome. If I had to pick the car apart, I would say that it definitely does lack a little bit in top end. I'm in a parking lot. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna launch it. Oh my God, man. I don't launch this thing much anymore, so I forget how freaking fast it is, man. Oh my God. When I went to import face off, I was gonna take it to the track. I was gonna run it at the track, and I didn't. The best time in my silver WRX was a 12.3, and I'm pretty sure I could break into the 11s with this, but obviously I didn't take it, so I don't know. I also get a lot of questions as far as daily driving the car, and I'll be honest with you, daily driving it isn't bad at all. Using the flex tune, the only thing that sucks is when you get gas, you have to put a little bit of 93 in before you fill up with flex. And besides that, that's really the only downfall, and you don't even have to deal with that if you don't want to, because you can get a no-strum fuel pump, high pressure fuel pump, and you can run straight E85 all the time if you want to. There's nothing race car about it. It's a street car, and that's how it's meant to be. I'm sure I could dump a shitload of money into this thing and make it a track car, make it a race car, and I'm sure it'd be faster and it'd be more crazy, but it doesn't need to be. I don't know, it's one of those things where it's a street car, it's made for street things, you know, and the occasional track trip. I will say something though, once you own one of these, if you haven't already, you will notice that they are everywhere. Everybody owns this car. That becomes a cool thing when you own one of these, because then you make friends very quick. I've met so many cool people because of these cars. And you can kind of do that with any car, but this car in particular, because there's just such a big following for it, you know, old and new, you know, whether you have a 08 or a 2018 or whatever. I actually get to stop and fill up with some E85 so you can kind of see the process here. Alright guys, this is so damn simple. The only time this sucks is when it's 20 degrees outside. Boom, 93. We're gonna put about a gallon and a half in because it's still the winter blend right now. So the ethanol content isn't quite as high, and you'll get the feeling for it, you know, what time of year the ethanol content goes up or down. But literally, like right there, we'll probably 1.3. That'll be good. All right, same thing. Now we're gonna pull out the flex fuel, put it in. So much cheaper too. It is so much cheaper than running 93, especially right now with the gas prices as high as they are. See if I can get a price on it. Yeah, right there. It's $1 a gallon cheaper. So I'm saving like 15 bucks a tank. It's truly a great car. If I had one major complaint about this car, it would honestly have nothing to do with what most people care about, and that's the audio. The audio in this car is garbage. It sounds really good at low volumes, and you get it about half volume and it starts sounding kind of crappy. Full blast, it sounds really crappy and you can't even hear it. If I put my windows down and I turn the music up the whole way, you can barely hear the music over the windows being down. Every car I've ever owned, I could put all 4 windows down, crank the radio up, and you can still hear it. Not in this car. So that's my major complaint. But anyways, guys, this was a little different for me. It was something different to do, and kind of try and look at my car in a different perspective, and I enjoy it. I would recommend this car to anyone that wants something like this, but I definitely would recommend this to someone who wants a street car. There's so many modifications you can do to this, which is nice. I think that's why so many people like them, is that anything on the car you can replace with something different. If something doesn't suit your taste, you can find something to replace it with. And that's the cool thing about these cars. And there's never just one option either. Almost everything on this car can be replaced with 2 or 3 different things, sometimes more. You know, it's just crazy. Like, you don't like the factory headlights, you got probably I want to say probably 10 different options. You know, you can pull them apart, paint them yourself. You can get Subi Speed V1, V2. You can get Hikari headlights. You can get there's so many different headlights. You can V-Land. There's eBay headlights. There's so many options. Circuit Demon, Retrofit Source, any of those places. That's just the headlights, you know. And a lot of other cars don't have that luxury, where there's such a big market for these cars that if you want parts like that, it's so easy to get them. So that's always a good thing. But anyways, guys, I'm actually going to go ahead and end today's review here. I don't want this video getting any longer than it has to be, and I'm sure it's already getting pretty long. So I'm glad you guys took the time to check it out. If you made it this far, I appreciate it, and I will hopefully see you guys again soon.